Welcome to our Friday live stream this week in cannabis news powered by Dutchie. Each Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, we deliver an overview of this week's cannabis news. It's quick, it's comprehensive, and it sends you into the weekend as a more informed cannabis professional and industry watcher. And it's all made possible by our friends at Dutchie. You can find and connect with the team there through a link in the show notes. Now, let's get to it. The First Circuit Court of Appeals ruled against Verano Canada Provisions and a pair of delivery operators in Massachusetts at a case they filed to attempt an overturn of the Controlled Substances Act, which considers cannabis a Schedule I drug, of course. The court was unconvinced that the CSA improperly hindered interstate commerce. From the onset of the case, the plaintiffs have said that they anticipate taking it to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, they will have a chance to petition the highest court. We need fresh thinking on how to reduce the substantial harms associated with drug-related crime in our communities. That's a quote from London Mayor Sadiq Khan this week after a report by the London Drugs Commission recommended decriminalizing cannabis possession in the city. Cannabis earnings season has wrapped up, and one emerging trend is clear. Big U.S. cannabis companies are struggling, while their Canadian counterparts, for the most part, are trending toward profitability. It's a remarkable turnaround, really, from just a few years ago, when federal legalization in the states looked to be just around the corner, and all the investment dollars flowed to American companies poised to take advantage. But despite several U.S. companies pulling in more revenue than their Canadian cannabis counterparts, there is little to no profit to be found among publicly traded companies in the U.S. This is in part because Canada has a consistent federal regulations as opposed to a hodgepodge of state rules operating under a federal government that still prohibits the plant. Now, Canada also exports cannabis, opening markets like Europe and Israel and Australia, while American companies can't even export to other states. Each week, our official insights partners at Lit Alerts share insights only available to cultivated readers. This week, they took a look at vape sales data from New York and New Jersey, and in both states, vape sales are up and to the right when it comes to total units sold. From January 2025 through last week, vape sales in these two markets continued to increase. And there's a link in the show notes if you're interested in a special Lit Alerts offer only available to cultivated readers. And we'll finish today with two fun things as opposed to one. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz signed a bill that would end criminal penalties for bong water. It was a bizarre law that stated that more than 4 ounces of bong water could be considered legally equal to the pure version of whatever substance had been smoothed. And finally, a pound of weed was found in one of the bins at a place called Where Ya Been, a store in Clive, Iowa. The cannabis was found in one of the many bins that shoppers fish through for discounted items. Apparently, shoppers can sometimes find unclaimed mail for sale, which is how the package of pot landed in one lucky shopper's basket. Thank you all for joining us here today. Thank you, Lit Alerts, for your partnership and exclusive insights, and especially today, thank you, Dutchie, for making this show possible each and every week. On Monday, please join us for a webinar called The Future of Native Nations in Cannabis, co-presented by our friends at Vicente LLP and the Indigenous Cannabis Industry Association. That is Monday. It'll take place on LinkedIn, so please find a link in the show notes. And check back here next Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, right here for This Week in Cannabis News, powered by Dutchie, and have a good and safe weekend, everybody.